Welcome to Mindful Movement. My name is Erin and this is Annie, and we are going to be going through our 1 hour mindful movement session today. This is a trauma-informed session, so any of the positions that feel good, you're welcome to hang out there for longer, or any positions that are not feeling great for you, you're welcome to come out and go into a safe spot for you. You are welcome to grab water at any point through this session, and we will try to incorporate some water breaks as well. You may also wish to have a yoga block with you for a little bit extra support if you would like. We will start in standing today at the top of our mat. Annie's going to be demonstrating the variations for poses as we go through here today. So if you have any adaptations that need to be had, you can follow along with Annie here. So we'll start with our feet shoulder width apart. Toes are going to be spread out nice and wide. We're going to take this time to just slow our breathing and focus on how our body is feeling at the beginning of today's session. You may wish to roll your shoulders down and back. On your next big inhale, we're going to raise our arms up above our head and exhaling through heart center. We'll do that again, taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. One more time, taking a deep breath in and breathing all the way out. This time we're going to pause at the top, so taking our deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to lean off to one side and stretch down the side of our body, through our lats and our intercostal muscles. One more deep breath in. And breathing all the way out as we return to center and bring our arms back down by our side. We'll do the same thing on the other side, so taking our deep breath in and deep breath out, leaning off to our other side. One more deep breath in and deep breath out, returning to center and bringing our arms down. Keeping our feet shoulder width apart, toes spread out nice and wide, we're going to take a big step back with one foot, bending into our front knee, and we're going to get into our warrior poses. We'll take a deep breath in, bringing our arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're going to rotate our back foot to face our sidewall and drop our arms down into a T position. You'll take one more deep breath in. And on your exhale, our back hand is going to come down behind our back leg, and our front arm will sweep up like a rainbow. One more deep breath in. And as we exhale, returning to center and stepping forwards. We will do the same thing on the other side, so make sure that your feet are still shoulder width apart, toes are going to be spread out nice and wide again. We'll take a big step back with our other leg, bending into the front foot or front knee. We'll take a deep breath in, arms are going to come up overhead. And as we exhale, rotating to our other side wall to have our toes pivot and face the same way. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out as our back hand slides down the back of our leg, front arm raises up into our rainbow. Taking one last breath in and breathing all the way out, we will return back to center and step our back foot forwards again. We will now move into our forward fold sequences. So we will start by taking a deep breath in, bringing our arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we'll hinge at the waist, sending our hips back behind us, and allowing our body to fall towards the floor. You're welcome to have a soft bend in your knees, and allow your head and your arms to dangle down. We'll take one more deep breath in. And as we slowly exhale, we'll slowly roll our way up, back to standing, going vertebrae by vertebrae. And finishing with the head and the shoulders. We will do that one more time, taking a deep breath in, arms are coming up. And deep breath out, hinging at the waist and falling forwards again. Taking one more breath in, and all the way out, slowly returning back to our standing position. We will do one more forward fold, but when we get to the bottom, we're going to slide our hands halfway up to our knees, and then we'll go all the way back down into our prone resting position. So we'll take one last breath in, bringing our arms above our head. Exhaling as we fall forwards towards the floor. Inhale, sliding the hands up to our knees, squeezing through the mid-back. Your gaze can come forwards. And exhaling as we slide back down, placing our hands next to our feet, stepping back into a tall plank. And then we can drop down onto our knees and into our prone resting position. If laying on your stomach is not comfortable for you, you're welcome to lay on your side, back, or go into seated. We will be in this position for roughly a minute. One more deep breath in. One last deep breath out. Bringing our hands in front of our shoulders, squeezing through the groin and the glutes, keeping our toes untucked. We'll press up into our mini cobra position, or you're welcome to come up into upward dog. Whichever position we're in, we're making sure that our shoulders aren't climbing up into our ears. We're keeping our neck long by pulling our shoulders down and back. One more deep breath in. Breathing all the way out, slowly lowering yourself back down to the floor. And we will be in our prone resting position one more time. One more deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Bringing the hands in front of the shoulders again. Squeezing through the groin and the glutes and pressing up into your mini cobra or your upward dog. One more deep breath in. And breathing all the way out. Dropping ourselves nice and slow back onto our bellies. We'll tuck our toes underneath us behind and press yourself back into a tabletop position. From here, we can either press back into our downward dog or into child's pose. If you are in downward dog, you're welcome to pedal your heels back and forth to stretch through the backs of the legs a little bit more. Taking one more breath in wherever you're at. And breathing all the way out as we return to our tabletop position. We can take a quick water break here if you would like. And we will now move on to our hands and knees positions. If you have sore wrists or hands, this is a great time for you to either use your yoga block to rest your elbows down, or you can follow along with Annie in our seated and standing alterations instead. So starting in our tabletop position, we're going to be doing our cat camels, so working on our thoracic mobility. So as we take a deep breath in, our belly is going to sink down towards the floor, gaze comes to the roof. And as we exhale, rounding through our back, pushing between our shoulder blades, and our gaze will come back down towards our belly button. Deep breath in, belly sinks down, gaze comes to the roof. Deep breath out, pushing through the back and rounding between the shoulder blades. And we will follow that sequence 3 more times, following your own breath. And when we are done, we will stop somewhere in the middle. We will move into our child's pose position, so having our big toes come behind us, knees are gonna separate out a little bit wider on the mat. We'll reach our arms forwards, and then we'll send our hips back to come rest down onto our heels, allowing our arms and our forehead to rest down on the mat. We will take one more breath in. And on your exhale, we'll walk our hands off to one side of the mat, stretching down the side of the body again. Taking one more breath in. And one more breath out. Walking our hands off to the other side of our mat and stretching down the other side. One more breath in. And our last breath out. Walking the hands back to the center of the mat and coming back up into our hands and knees position. We will stretch into our adductor muscles, so on the inside of the leg. For this position, we'll keep one knee on the floor, both hands planted on the floor, and we'll have one leg kick out to the side, extending that leg as far as we can. If you are already feeling a good stretch down the inside of the leg here, you're welcome to stay here, or you can drop your arms down onto your elbows. And for an even further stretch, you can sit your bum back down onto your heels. Taking one more breath in. one more breath out. We'll come back up into our tabletop position, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So kicking our leg out, extending it as far as you would like, and then adjusting the position as you need for your body today. One more deep breath in, and deep breath out. Returning to our tabletop position. Next, we will move into opening up our hips. So coming into a half kneeling position, sitting up nice and tall. One foot is going to have its pinky toe running to the outside of the mat, and our knee is going to track in line with that foot without having the bottom of the foot roll off of our mat. Keeping our legs bent at that 90-degree angle, we'll drop our hands down towards the floor. Or you can also grab your yoga block and rest your elbows if that's more comfortable for you. If you're able to, you can drop your arms all the way down so your elbows are resting on the mat. We're going to hang out here for 3 more slow, deep breaths. Taking our last breath in, and all the way out. You can press yourself up off the floor. We're going to walk that top leg into the center of our mat. We will move to stretching into our hip flexor here. So you can place your hands on your hips if you would like, and we're going to shift our weight forwards. So we're bending more into that front leg. We should start to feel a stretch all the way through the front of our hip on our leg that's resting down on the floor. If you would like the stretch to be a little bit more, you're welcome to lengthen your arm above your head, creating as much space as we can from our knee to our fingertips. One more deep breath in, and a deep breath out, returning back to our center position, and then we will switch legs. We will start by opening the hip again, so walking that foot to the outside of the mat so our pinky toe runs along the edge. Knee is going to track out to the side, following our foot. Again, you can use your yoga block if you would like. We will fall forward so our hands are resting down on the mat, and then adjusting the position as you need for yourself today. So whether you're adding a soft bend into the elbows or dropping all the way down to your elbows on the mat. a deep breath out. You can bring yourself back up to a tall stance, walking the foot back into the center of the mat. You can place your hands on your hips if you would like, as you softly guide your hips forwards into stretching into our hip flexors. Again, you can raise your arm up overhead if you would like, creating that space. One more breath in, and one more breath out, returning back to center. We'll go back into our tabletop position. Our big toes are going to come behind us again, opening the knees wide on our mat, and we're coming back into our child's pose position. Resting your arms and your forehead down. One more breath in. And one more breath out. Coming back up into tabletop. Our next position will be our pigeon pose, so stretching into our glutes and our piriformis muscle. We'll have one leg extend out behind us. You can keep your toes tucked under for now if you would like. Your bent leg is going to slide forward slightly on the mat. And then you're gonna have your heel come across the midline to meet up with the opposite hip. As you slowly start to settle your hips down towards the floor, you can untuck your toes of the extended leg. And if you would like a deeper stretch, you can drop down onto your elbows, or you can have your shin come parallel to the front of your mat. One more deep breath in, and a deep breath out. If you're on your elbows, you can press yourself back up into that proud pigeon stance, tucking our toes underneath us of that extended leg, and then we will switch sides. So extending that other leg, knee slides forwards, hip comes across, or your heel comes across the midline of your body to meet up with the opposite hip, and then settling your hips down towards the mat, and maybe dropping down onto your elbows for a deeper stretch if you would like. Last breath in, And our last breath out. And you can softly roll off to the side onto your hip and then come into a comfortable seated position for you. We can grab a drink of water. And we will move into our neck stretches for today. So sitting up nice and tall, our shoulders are going to be rolled down and back. We'll take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, having your ear drop down to the shoulder, and then extending that opposite arm to create as much space as possible from fingertips to the back of the ear. One more breath in. And one more breath out. Returning back to center. Readjusting the shoulders if we need. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Taking a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Dropping our ear down to the shoulder. And extending the arm for a deeper stretch. One more deep breath in. And all the way out. Returning back to center. Our last stretch for our neck today will be into our upper traps and down the back of our neck. So we will be sitting up very tall for this one, taking a deep breath in. And as we exhale, slowly tucking that chin down into our chest, starting to feel a stretch through the back of the neck. And if you would like, you can gently place your hand on the back of your head and guide your head a little bit further down to deepen the stretch. One more breath in. And one more breath out. Returning the head back to center. We will have our feet come out in front of us, bottoms of the feet together. And we'll stretch into our groin here. So the further your legs are extended out, the less the stretch will be. If you would like, you can shuffle your heels a little bit closer into the body to make it a bit deeper. We'll sit up nice and tall and allow gravity to have our knees drop down to the side. If you would like, you can also lean forward slightly using your elbows to guide the knees down a little bit more. One more breath in. And one more breath out. If you're leaning forwards, you can come back up to a tall seated position. We will extend one leg out in front of us. Bottom of our other foot is going to be either on the inside of the knee or the inside of the thigh, and we will come into stretching into our hamstrings. So sitting up nice and tall, we'll take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, our hands are gonna slide down our leg to join at the same point. One more breath in. And one more breath out. Slowly sliding yourself back up to our tall seated position. We will switch legs, having the bottom of the foot come to the inside of the knee or the inside of the thigh. Sitting up nice and tall, taking that deep breath in. And exhaling as we slide the hands down the leg to our resting point. One more breath in, and one more breath out. Sliding ourselves back up to tall seated. We will extend that original leg again, this time bending the leg so our foot is resting on the bottom of the floor, on the bottom of our mat. We will hug the knee with the opposite arm, rotating through the lower back. You can have your hand come behind you for some support, and your gaze will come over your back shoulder. One more breath in, and one more breath out. Slowly untwisting, extending our bent leg, and placing the bottom of the foot of our other leg on the floor. Hugging the knee with the opposite arm again, twisting through that lower back, placing your hand behind you for support if you would like, and bringing your gaze over your back shoulder. One more breath in, and last breath out. We can untwist, extending our legs, and then we'll come into a comfortable laying position on your back. You can have your feet planted on the floor, knees are going to be bent, and we will walk our feet to the outside of our mat. We will start by opening up our hips a little bit more by doing our windshield wiper movements. So we'll take a deep breath in, And as we exhale, your knees are going to drop off to one side of the mat. Inhaling back to center. And exhaling off to the other side. And we will do that sequence 3 more times following your own breath. When you are done, stopping in the middle, walking the feet back into the center of our mat, we will have one foot extend out in front of us. Our other leg is going to come up to a 90-degree bend. You're welcome to use your yoga block here as well. We will have our opposite arm reach across to the outside of our knee. As we slowly start to guide the leg across the midline of the body, so our toes come to resting on either our yoga block or onto the floor. Our opposite arm is going to be extended out at a 45-degree angle to allow a little bit of a stretch through the chest. Taking one more breath in and one more breath out. We can slowly untwist, extending our leg and propping our other foot up to that 90-degree bend. Opposite arm reaches across to the outside of the knee as we slowly guide the leg across the midline again. Toes resting either on the floor or on our yoga block. Arm is out at that 45, allowing a stretch through the chest. Taking one more breath in and one more breath out. We will slowly untwist and come into our final resting position for today. So you're welcome to remain laying on your back, or you're welcome to lay on your side, your stomach, or come into a seated position. We will be here for roughly 5 to 7 minutes. start to bring ourselves back into the room, you can create a little bit of movement through your fingers and your toes. And we're going to finish today's session with 3 slow, deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can come back up to seated. Thank you for joining us today.